everyone, welcome again to the Art of Gracious Living. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my absolute favorite pair of boots, and these are made by Nick's Handmade Boots of Spokane, Washington. These are a pair of the Robert boots, and the leather that's used is the Shackleton number 8, which is made by Horween. It's a special version, very similarly tanned to the Chrome XL, which is a highly oiled, very rugged leather that's infused with oils and other preservatives that ages wonderfully and is just an absolute classic for heritage boots, and a pretty high-end leather too. It's not cheap for the bootmakers to buy, and therefore any Horween product carries a premium. These are the Shackleton version of the Chrome XL, which has got additional waterproofing, and they, I believe, have some silicone that is infused into the leather to make it extremely water resistant, if not completely waterproof. As many of you may know who are familiar with Nick's and other Pacific Northwest makers, they use the full stitch down construction, which means that the leather, the top of the vamp is flared out and then stitched down as opposed to folded in and under in a traditional Goodyear welted construction. So this is different from Goodyear welting. It's a stitch down, and it goes about at 270 degrees to about here. As you can see, the stitch down ends right about there, and from there on the leather is folded in and under, and it's attached to the midsole with nails. So full stitch down, nailed construction. Pretty much waterproof leather. I haven't tested them for the waterproofness, but I suspect you could probably go wading in these. Fully gusseted tongue. Also, I believe made out of, it's a little bit thinner leather, but I believe it's still Chrome XL, or I think it's actually Chrome XL. Very soft and pliable, and gives you water protection and debris protection all the way up here, which is unusual for boots. Again, it's a premium design and takes more leather to make, but Nick's are absolutely among the top 2 or 3 boot manufacturers in the United States. They do a fantastic job, and these are really one of the uniquely excellent pair of boots. A couple of things are unusual about this Robert build. I bought these used on eBay, and I was very lucky. First of all, they're exactly my size, and I had never tried on a pair of Nick's. And as everybody knows who has gone out looking for a pair of Pacific Northwest boots, the sizing can be a little bit tricky, if not downright confusing. I was very lucky that these fit me like gloves. They are exactly my size. They are exactly my measured size that I usually wear, which is 11.5D. So my measured size on the Brannock device happens to fit me perfectly in Nick's boots. So they're extremely heavy, and it's because they have multiple layers of leather. They're all leather construction. You can see this bump here is the leather shank. They do not have a metal shank. They have a thick hunk of leather, and that shank contributes to a very high arch. The arch support in these is amazing. The fact that they are a slightly high heel, so that there's some considerable drop to your foot, and that high arch make these the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn, without question. More comfortable than my Keens, more comfortable than any sneakers that I've worn. That high arch support is just fantastic. They feel And people may think that I'm exaggerating, but I'm absolutely not. The second I put them on, they felt like a pair of slippers. They are supremely comfortable, and they were so comfortable, I did not want to take them off. I wear them everywhere, even though it's summer, because I can't stop I can't stop wearing them. If you I have plantar fasciitis, and that is really what led me into this boot rabbit hole. Looking for a pair of boots, looking for a pair of shoes that were actually comfortable that I could wear all day. And I have not found them until I came across these Nicks. If you have troublesome feet, plantar fasciitis, any kind of difficulty wearing shoes all day, try a pair of Nicks or any of the other Pacific Northwest companies that make a high arch support, heavy arch support boot. And that would include Whites, JKs, really all of the Pacific Northwest companies specialize in at least one of their lasts in this very high and supportive arch. This is the Nix 55 last. I believe it's identical to the White's 55 last. Nix is a small company, but has a pretty big output, and you can customize every single aspect of your Nix boots. You can decide on what you want for soles. You can decide on various construction techniques, whether you want speed hooks or all lace holes. You can specify the leather, and they have a wide variety of styles of boots. Basically, you can find something, anybody can find something that they like in the Nix line. Now, as I said, this is a little bit unusual build for a Robert boot. It's a single stitch down instead of a double stitch down. 95, if not 99% of all Nix products have a double row of stitches on the stitch down. Has a single row, which was clearly a special order. It gives it a little bit dressier look. I don't think they're any less durable. Quite frankly, I think the double stitch down is probably overkill. I mean, it's super cool, and they look great, and they look tough. And for a work boot, you can't beat the look of a double stitch down, but it's not really necessary. And I like the single stitch down. It does make them a little bit more versatile. And the Robert boot is, according to Nix, a slightly more dressy look. It's far from a dress boot, in my opinion, but you can wear this with jeans, you can wear this with khakis, or you can wear it to work. Also, this is the Western sole, which is got a series of very fine um, striations. It's a Vibram product, Quabog heel, which I understand has been discontinued because Vibram no longer makes the Quabog heel. They substitute a different one, but this is kind of a Western boot sole, and it is the dressiest of Nick's soles. So whoever decided they wanted this build clearly specified components and techniques that made it about as dressy a Robert boot as you could have. So, and I like that because while I do work, I don't work outside. I'm on my feet 4, 5, 6 hours a day in my job, but I don't need something that's super weatherproof. And that's what makes this build particularly odd because it uses the Shackleton leather. Shackleton is a waterproof leather, yet every other aspect of this boot is as dressy as they could make it. And these are certainly not a sole that lends itself to walking in any kind of inclement weather. It's a sole that's really made for nice flat surfaces. So it's just a little bit of an odd build. I happen to love it. I don't find that the waterproofing in the Shackleton leather makes them particularly unbreathable. I think they breathe pretty good. I've worn them now in some 80-degree weather, walking 3, 4 miles. Not a problem at all if you wear wool socks. Um, so the heel is high, but it's high for a reason. It allows for that arch to really provide the maximum amount of support possible. So it's not particularly a fashion decision to have a higher heel. You shouldn't shy away. They just make the boots look rugged. They don't make them look anything but a cool men's boot. And they have a slight Western tinge to them because of the slant on the back of the boot. I think that's called a Cuban heel. You see that very commonly on cowboy boots, but it's not as pronounced. Also, this high heel makes it a great motorcycle boot. You can really hook it in, um, and so it's a super functional heel as well as just one that allows the boot to provide excellent arch support. Great boots. Now, I will say that I was really lucky in another aspect in that they are just used enough but not too used. These were secondhand, obviously. They'd been worn a bit, and the heel is, as you can see, a bit worn. The person who had them before didn't have the greatest gait, and they did wear a little bit unevenly on the heel. And I think I will eventually get these heel caps replaced, probably sooner rather than later. But they're not, that doesn't interfere with my walking or stride at all when I'm wearing them. But they are partly broken in, which is, as everyone knows who has ever worn a Pacific Northwest boot, a major issue. They take a long time to break in, and these fortunately were starting to be completely broken in. So these have been worn probably, I would imagine they've been worn 10 to 20 hours easily before I bought them. Yet, if you look inside, they had not yet started to have the imprint of the previous owner's foot on the insole. And these have completely leather insoles, thick veg tan leather, which molds to your bottom of your foot shape as you break them in. And that process had not started with these, yet they are broken in. So, as I said, I just incredibly lucky find for me. I can wear these all day right now, pretty much right out of the box. Love the color. It's that kind of that reddish cordovan, not shell, of course. This is cowhide. Um, but what is commonly referred to as a cordovan color. It's got a nice red tint, and it's the classic number 8 color. That's a standard Horween color, which is comes in all sorts of leathers. But it's that reddish tint which makes them incredibly versatile. You can wear them with gray pants, you can wear them with khakis, you can wear them with jeans. Incredibly versatile color. I love this color. I've ever since I bought my first pair of Bass Weegians in this color, I've loved this reddish number 8 cordovan color. Terrific. Everything in these boots is overbuilt. I mean, they're just absurdly overbuilt. Look at this, the back with all that stitching. 4 stitches on here, 3 stitches on here, all leather, heel, counter, um, all leather heel stack, all leather midsole. They're just fantastic boots, and I'm absolutely in love with them. I can't recommend them more highly. These are my Nix Roberts in Shackleton number 8 Horween leather, single stitch down with the Western soles. Great boots. Couldn't be happier, and I couldn't be quicker to recommend Nix. Great company. Thank you all for watching. If you like this content, please subscribe, please like, and I will see you soon.